And we're just going to get started. So, good evening, everybody. Again, it is Blockchain Chat. If it is Wednesday, you know it is officially Blockchain Day. We just had our session with Dr. Keisha, if you're part of the Inner Circle, where we were talking about the Education Product Committee. So I want to thank Dr. Keisha for her leadership with regards to that. We are starting to roll out our classes throughout the country. We're doing 2 test cases in 2 cities. And then if you want to start leading blockchain classes, please get in touch with Tawana. There's some support that we give within BBC Corporate to help you actually launch classes in your city. So we want to definitely support that so we can have more people participating in blockchain, especially our people. We don't want to miss this boat. A couple of other announcements that I have for everybody. Next Monday, September 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're having a special session where we're talking about how you can make money within Black Blockchain Consultants. We have a couple of money-making opportunities within BBC, and we have our entire executive committee who is going to be on to talk about some of the different ways that you can make money within Black Blockchain Consultants. So if you are an Inner Circle member, you will be receiving that invitation, and we would love to have you there. There will be a replay if you are not able to attend next Monday live. Another announcement, our next virtual conference is coming up. Tawana and her team, Eric Spence and the rest of the team have secured Lamar Wilson, who is going to talk about 21st century crowdfunding from his point of view. And is there anyone else confirmed, Tawana, besides Lamar, that we should know about?
We have, hold on, I can tell you. Let me pull up that information.
This is going to be really great for us because we're going to be talking about crowdfunding opportunity zones and how blockchain is going to be one of the key technologies with regards to 21st century fundraising. So Tawana, go ahead.
All right, so we've got several of the blockchain platforms confirmed, and I'm getting to the list.
Okay.
We've got Barbara Bickman confirmed.
Okay.
So that's awesome. She's also always awesome to speak to.
And who is she?
You guys remember we interviewed her before. So she's part of Trail and Ventures. And what she does primarily is she helps small businesses and established businesses raise money. And she's just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, when you think of a businesswoman, she is the epitome of what we all aspire to be. So she did an interview last year with Talisha and just blew us away.
Yeah.
Can't wait for us to talk to her again. And then we have, I think hold on, I don't want to think. Let me just pull up the list.
Yeah.
We've got Swarm, one of the blockchain platforms, they've confirmed. We also are, you said Lamar, so we've got Lamar. Dr. Keisha confirmed a Dr. Henry Childs. He's going to talk to us about opportunity zones.
Great.
So that's going to be really, really good. We've got Nexo. They're another a blockchain platform. They've confirmed. Oh, good. Eric's giving me some help.
Here. Yeah, and Eric, if you want to come on the panel, just let me know, please.
Yeah, so Securitize, Nexo, and Swarm are the platforms that have already confirmed. So that's awesome. And we're still working because the conference, the topics are crowdfunding, tokenization, as well as opportunity zones. So we're trying to get some good talent in all of those different areas. And so we are working really diligently to get some of the crowdfunding platforms to come join us as well, so they can talk through the process. We're working to get people who have been very successful in raising money on a crowdfunding platform, and then talking heavily about opportunity zones, because we really believe there are great opportunities out there for us to benefit in that space. And so we want to educate people. We're hoping to be able to go through the actual regs that cover opportunity zones and really teach people what it is and what it means, and then further that discussion with helping them understand where they sit in the space and how they can benefit from it.
And I'm really, really looking forward to this. This is not just for people who are interested in blockchain. This is for all sorts of entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurs in your family, friends, co-workers, church members. This is going to be for everybody to come and learn how we can use these regulations and laws to our benefit. So in terms of things that we can do today and things that are on the horizon, so we're not always behind the 8 ball with technology. We want to figure out how we can, say it all together, everybody, skate where the puck is going. That's what we want to do. So the final announcement is Atlanta 2020 is happening. We are very close. Tawana and I are working very diligently to get the contract signed, but the dates are confirmed, February 16th and 17th, 2020. So as soon as we have the paperwork locked in, we're going to be releasing all sorts of information about that. And if you live in Atlanta, or if you want to be involved with the topics that we're going to be discussing, then we have a planning committee, and I'm sure Tawana would love to have you on that as well. So with that, Eric, since Tawana has 20 minutes left with us, I'm going to jump right into the crypto winter topic. Does that work for 2 of you?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All righty then. So let me share my screen here. And we are going to show this here. So this is an article that I got from Forbes with regards to this, and it just kind of got me thinking. So this author says, why crypto winter? $10 billion in blockchain revenue by 2023. So ladies and gentlemen, this is 3 years from now that we're looking at this. He's saying here, in 2018, the cryptocurrency space sustained a harsh market-wide drawdown in asset prices. Crypto prices have since recovered, not totally, and the technology underlying those crypto assets, blockchain, is expected to see billions of dollars in growth. ABI Research took a dive into blockchain tech and reported its findings, expecting big things from the technology in the next few years. We have forecasted potential blockchain revenues in the next 6 years, says the digital research director, Michaela Minting. This blockchain revenue, and this is an important sentence here, this blockchain revenue includes categories such as crypto assets, financial services, industrial blockchain applications, and consulting services, as well as others, she clarified. ABI expects the totality of blockchain revenues to reach almost $10 billion in the next couple of years. Okay? And then they go on to talk about the fact that there was a dramatic decrease in Bitcoin of 50%, and it's coming back up. It's still at 10,500. I just checked about 20 minutes ago. So it has not gotten back to its 18,000, 19,000 levels. But, you know, Mark Moss is still pulling for a $50,000 Bitcoin price one day. So if you all don't know who Mark Moss was, he was one of the speakers at our first virtual conference. He has a very good YouTube channel I'm subscribed to, and I am only subscribed to about 5 or 6 YouTube channels, but he's one of them, and he has some interesting thoughts about that. But our topic today is not so much about crypto as it is about the underlying technology. So they say here, regarding the underlying tech, many mainstream giants have begun incorporating blockchain into their various operations, including Walmart, Amazon, and JP Morgan Chase. The stated multi-billion-dollar revenue expectation means that ABI foresees companies across the globe making around $10 billion in profit total from using blockchain tech. There are a number of ways blockchain revenues are derived. She noted digital asset transaction fees, consulting activities, and blockchain frameworks, such as Amazon's AWS. And then they talk about the trends moving from initial coin offerings, which have had a lot of issues, of course, with regulations. More of these platforms now are moving to venture capital funding. And as somebody who writes business plans for a living, one of the big things that I can tell you is a difference between raising money through an ICO and raising money through VC funding is that VCs expect revenues from a company. With ICOs, you're having a whole bunch of people give you money, but they really don't have any other expectations except for you to make good on putting the project together. With VCs, they want to see that you have a revenue plan in place before they give you any money. So you're going to start seeing viable, you've already started seeing, but with any VC, they want to see viable blockchain platforms being suggested in order for them to be funded. So with that, this is, the end of the article. But I wanted to also show this article here as well, which is just talking about blockchain and crypto deals are down sharply in 2019. So the only thing I wanted to talk about with this is that there are fewer projects being funded, but again, they're probably a lot more well thought out than traditional or what we were seeing before with the ICOs. So I have a couple of final things and then I'll let you two jump in. In 2009, my mother started her bookkeeping business in 2006, 2007 timeframe. And in 2009, of course, the recession happened, the last recession. And I decided to join her business full time. One of the things that helped us, and this is going to just a winter period in terms of the economy, which people are calling for in this whole crypto winter. I had three things that I wrote down here that I think were important to my success with regards to helping my mother build her company, even though it was an economic recession. Number one is I had a very clear focus of what I was doing to help her. In terms of business development, marketing, going out there, introducing ourselves to as many people as possible. Number two is I had very low personal expenses. At the time, I had my student loan, which I was able to put on deferment. But other than that, I didn't have a car note. I didn't have a lot of expenses. And number three, I was very focused on activity. I was networking at least 3 times a week, following up with people, scheduling appointments for my mother to meet with people to sell our bookkeeping services. I think if you want to be a true blockchain consultant and seeing the crypto winter happening, which really means that there are fewer projects out there that are getting funding and you have specific opportunities that are available for consulting, you need to pick a major. We've talked about that before. I always say, in college, you freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. Freshman and sophomore year, you're doing general studies, things like that. Junior year, you pick a career. So within blockchain, I suggest pick a major. Discover a need in the marketplace. Number 3 is get known by the top players in your industry or your use case or whatever. Build a top 10 list and say, you know what, within the next year, I want to meet all 10 of these people. Number 4 is become a top player in the industry. There are ways that you can do that, anything from starting a podcast or a newsletter or starting a Medium blog, just really getting yourself known out there. And also you could do another thing that's free is starting a group. It could be a group on Zoom like this, or a Facebook group or whatever, where you're discussing with people within your industry or your use case, what are the top trends and things that are happening. You can even get a group like this together once a month on Zoom, where you're just having a discussion with some of the top thought leaders. Number 5 is, I would also suggest you update your LinkedIn profile. Again, free stuff to do. Make it keyword friendly so that when people are looking for blockchain in your industry, you pop up. And then number 6, promote yourself and let people know that you are available to consult with them. And you can become a paid consultant within this industry. Even though there's winter, there's going to be $10 billion of revenue available in 2023, and that's just the beginning. So I'm going to hand it over to Tawana or Eric. You guys can comment on anything that I've talked about thus far.
So I'll start, since I got to go in a bit. But, the first thing I thought about when looking at that article is winter's not so bad, right? Sometimes you need to slow down a little bit. And that's what those numbers in that article kind of says to me, is that I think companies are really looking at how to improve their businesses. And maybe that's why we're not seeing so many, right? In the day and age of ICOs, it was all about the money grab in a lot of ways. And so I think now there's a focus with the SEC, having their big eyes open now. I think companies are really looking to see how they can stay compliant. And there's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of money, and it's, there's a lot of risk. So I think they're being more cautious, which is why we see some of the slowdown. And as a long-term crypto investor, I also know for every bull run, there's a bear run, right? So, and everything's cyclical. So, I would say not to worry too much about that. Something I've been thinking about lately is, my idea of mass adoption has changed. What I thought it was going to look like, it doesn't look like that for me anymore. What it looks like now is to really see these companies utilizing blockchain in a way that it's going to affect my everyday life. And it's not as much about education as it is about it being presented to me and then learning about it. I think I originally thought people should learn about blockchain so that when it comes, they'll know what it is. And really, I'm looking at it now as it's coming, and it's going to come fast. And when it does, people have to have a place to go and learn about it, because they're going to hear more about it. And so it's just kind of changed my mind about where the focus for education needs to be. It's almost that saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We need to stay ready in this space, because when the floodgates open, they are going to open, because companies are focusing on this. It's not going away, right? And we said that a year ago. And every time we see another article, another major player come out with a wonderful idea, I think we can see, proof positive, it's not going anywhere. And we want our people, to be ready and to see how they fit in this space. Like you said, Sherry, all of those 6 points, I hope people are going to watch this replay if they didn't have time to write them down, and actually write them down and use them as a roadmap for how they maneuver in this area, because you just gave the roadmap.
Thanks, Tawana. Yes, absolutely. Eric?
No, I mean, I will say it was interesting because you mentioned the recession. Now, that's pretty timely, because if you at least at all, I guess, following or pay attention into some of the economists, they are predicting a recession. And
not some, everyone that I've seen.
Yeah.
Every economist that I've seen is.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone. And now, I mean, everyone is pretty much saying 2020, right? And it was the other day, I was leaving to go pick my son up from work. And I was really thinking about it. And I was listening to this person's podcast. And I was thinking about, because right now here in Virginia, which you guys are, you're in Virginia too. Tawana, I know you're in Louisville. But, this is hurricane season. So as hurricane season comes in, you think about preparation. Oh my gosh, how much bottled water do I have? You know, I don't have a generator, so I'm just out of luck if that we do lose power or something like that. But you do start getting into preparation mode. I'm saying that in the sense of, okay, listen, everyone, if we are headed to a recession in 2020, which it does look like that could be the case, how severe it will be, like no one knows. How do we prepare for that? And everything you just said, Cherie, earlier, those are steps that, you know, everyone should watch this video, retrace back, and start thinking through their individual life on how they're preparing for that. Now, I know that's not a direct thing when it comes down to, you know, the crypto winter, you know, but we
Actually, it is, though. It is a direct thing because I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but I do want people to see that it is a direct thing because I mentioned the keeping your expenses low for a reason, because you cannot play, like this is a long-term play that has multi-trillion-dollar opportunity for all of us. But if you are so worried because you are over leveraged with credit cards and things like that, and this is no dig against anybody, this is just us having a real conversation. If you have so many expenses over here and winter comes, it makes you less agile. And the companies that have done really well since 2012, like the run with the increased economy, were ones that were able to survive the last recession and make certain moves to position themselves so that when the increase happened, they were there to ride the wave. So I just want to put that in there so that people could see that there's a correlation here.
Yeah, you know, Tangi Williams just posted in, like, will blockchain grow if there's a recession? Will companies put money in R&D? And he said, you know, this is what I ponder. Now, this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Now, wrong, and I'm not Nostradamus, so I'm not doing it. But I then think back to the last recession, okay? And one of the things that really stood out was, I guess, you having those distinguished skill sets, you know, that really made you more marketable, that you could then leverage in multiple ways. Because we are so much on the cusp of blockchain adoption, us being here and having a grasp of it, to me, makes us just more marketable and more attractive in whatever way that we choose to apply it in our lives. I believe this, it's just me, you know, the last recession pretty much birthed Bitcoin, you know?
It did.
Okay, I believe this next one, it could potentially be the one that everyone goes, you know, okay, enough of the crap now. Now we're just gonna like completely implement blockchain, and for just a lot of reasons, because, you know, like we notice this, when it happens, there is a global mind shift. Everyone pretty much starts thinking different when you have recessions. We're all interconnected in communities. The person that you saw that was living their life in a certain way all becomes more frugal. You see people that were spending a bunch of gas, now all of a sudden they're catching the bus. All of those sort of things just start happening on a global community level, at least, you know, I would say in the United States, I'm speaking. So for me, I believe that now we become very open now to new ideas and implementing those ideas when they have a promise of delivering a betterment for our lives.
And a cost saving, right? So when you talk about the recession, companies are going to be thinking, how can we save money? And so blockchain is the way, because it offers the efficiencies, which then bring down the cost. Now, sometimes that cost relates to the overhead of people, right? So that's why we got to be ready to do something else if that's the case. But it also could mean eliminating waste. And so if that's the case, you can ride the recession, right? Because you're eliminating waste in your organization, which allows you to live another day.
Right, which I want to piggyback on what Tawana's saying here. So she mentioned cost savings for companies and eliminating waste. If you're thinking about yourself as a consultant, then what you do is you can say to companies, look, blockchain We have these platforms here that can go with your industry. They can reduce the cost within your company, reducing transaction fees, reducing employee inefficiency. You may be able to get rid of some employees because, there are going to be layoffs that are potentially coming. This is how we start linking in what we're able to do as blockchain consultants with enterprise in order to start getting blockchain consulting gigs. And if you select an industry and say, I am the king or queen of this industry of helping companies implement blockchain for cost savings and improved efficiency, and there's a recession, then Tawan is absolutely right. Crypto winter may be the best thing to ever happen to your business.
I agree. And let me just add something too, just about this recession. Because, anytime there's any recession, there are multiple reasons, multiple factors that lead to it, why it's caused. Now, I will tell you, now we're able to look back in hindsight for, the past 10 years. And if you remember when that first thing happened, like when it did come crashing down, it was kind of funny because I felt like, a lot of this was pushed off to us, the consumers, that, oh, it's your fault. You guys spent all this credit card debt and that sort of thing, which, it was like you caused this. But then, now we say, no, we weren't. It was the bankers playing fast and loose with the money, and they were the ones who really caused it. Now, this one, from everything I've read about it seems that a big part of this one is going to be, I told my sons at the dinner table about this, saying, okay, look, y'all can't move because y'all are eating here. So now I'm going to talk, so you just have to just listen. Any other time, I don't want to hear it. But I said, here's the deal. This time around, it looks like it's going to be it's corporate debt, all right? Mm-hmm. Where you have all of these companies that are over-leveraged. Mm-hmm. And I was telling my son, because my oldest son, he works at Best Buy. I said, son, it would be like, for instance, Best Buy. I said, you may look at how much money your stores bringing in. You may know how much money the corporation's bringing in. What you don't know is how much debt they have. Like if they wanted to expand and open up 2,000 other stores in whatever locales that you don't know about, you don't know how they actually leverage themselves to get that. So once that debt gets called in, guess what? It starts rolling downhill. Now, here's the deal. And this is why this is probably like very applicable. What happens if all of this debt does, if that is the catalyst and that does cause the snowball, if that does cause the avalanche, all of these companies are going to have to find a way to move forward with their processes in a far more cost-efficient way.
They are. Tawana, I want to give you last words because I know you got to go.
I know. I hate to leave.
It's good. I know.
Get your phone. Just give me your phone to go.
I ditto everything you just said, Eric. I mean, and you're right. But the one thing that we can see is if it's a publicly traded company, we can see the debt. You got to dig a little deeper, but you have access to the debt. So what I would say is we need to start looking at those things a little closer, right? So that they can't camouflage it. So we need to become well-informed so that this recession doesn't catch us off guard, right? We hear it's coming, but a lot of times we're in denial, right? Mm-hmm. About what it means for us. Oh, well, I made it through the last one. I'll make it through this one. We need to be better prepared, not to make assumptions, and just be ready so we don't have to get ready. That's the advice.
Absolutely.
Ready.
Absolutely.
Right. Love you. I gotta go.
Thank you so much, Tawana. Thanks for being here.
Please.
So I want to go back to what you said about the corporate debt because there is a lot of corporate debt, and the corporate debt is not just for the large companies. There are several popular YouTube and social media. I'm more so on YouTube than any other platform, but I'm pretty sure they're on Facebook and Instagram too, that are telling small business owners like us, the way to become successful is to get as many credit cards as you can, max those suckers out, do all this advertising and marketing and things like that. And I scream when I hear that because That's not it. I mean, yes, if Best Buy is opening up a new store or something like that, and they've got a lot of fixed assets, then yes, they should, be opening up. Sorry, they should have a certain amount of corporate debt. However, if we have blockchain consulting businesses, we should not be getting $50,000 lines of credit to start
I
these types of
agree,
businesses.
100%.
So let's be real about that. So some of the corporate debt that Eric is talking about is not just from big businesses. A lot of it is going to be from small entrepreneurs. Also, there's some recent statistics out. I don't have them in front of me about auto loans being a lot more auto loans are starting to become deficient. A lot of students now are defaulting on their student loans. You got a lot of consumer debt. So I think it's going to be very broad. And Eric brought up a point I didn't really think about, but he's right. 2008 brought about Bitcoin. What is 2020 going to bring about? And you all know how I feel about this. How can we take advantage of it economically? Just because the unemployment rate may get to 15%, that means to me that 85% of the world is working. They have a job, they have income coming in. Corporations are still going to have income coming in. And if you are able to provide solutions to people or to corporations, when I say corporations, I mean small businesses as well as big businesses. If you're able to provide something that people need so much that it doesn't matter that it's a recession, that's why I said pick a need, and being smart and strategic about it and start to put yourself in place now so that a year from now when they say, oh my goodness, we really need somebody, we need to go to Google, find somebody, go to LinkedIn, find somebody, go to our networks, find somebody, you are the only name that pops up because you've been talking about it for a year now. So we really want to think about how do you position yourself during the upcoming winter. And again, I'm putting that in quotes. But go ahead, Eric.
No, that's it. I mean, and I was going to say one of the things too that we know that anytime it happened, and if we ever now, it's still a bit of time traveling. So let's go back to 2009, 2010, when this era happened, and start remembering those conversations that were happening when you were watching CNN or Fox News or whatever you were watching, or these conversations around you with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, and what were some of the things that they were saying. I'll tell you one of the big things that was coming up a lot. People were looking for options, and it was all, and was like that's one of the primary things is when something happens and we feel like we are being pushed in one direction. It's okay. Wait a minute. I don't want to go in that direction. What other options do I have? And go to either to basically begin to meld and to change my situation into a much more better result. I'll just be honest with you, talking about the major. So this is why I'm so dialed in on tokenization of assets.
It's true.
Yeah, and I know we're not 100% there when it comes down to the regulation. We are moving slower, but could this be one of those catalysts where now people go, well, wait a minute, hold on. I have different assets here that I've accrued that aren't, and I'm not at the level of being a massive hedge fund. I'm just a person, this is a family, this is what I have, but I need to unlock it and I need to find a way to help and to benefit my own situation. That's like an ideal like solution there for a lot of people. So could that be a catalyst? I don't know. Where finally, you have the SEC, whoever go, okay, we get it. Okay, we're gonna get off, whatever trip that we're on. And because remember, these people they're supposed to be public servants, okay? So they serve
supposed to be, yes.
Yeah, right. So they serve the betterment of the public. So if this is one of those, but that's just me. That's just me when I just have my eye on that one because of the fact of it opening up options. We just need to have those options scaled down to everybody so that we can make that work for everyone.
Right. So Perez is saying here, Crypto Winter is the best way for the blockchain consultant who understands how to use blockchain to improve and introduce new business practices based off of efficiency. Yes, that's absolutely right. So Mario is saying, tokenizing assets is something we need to have immediately in the Black community. So let's talk about this, because one of the things that tokenization is going to do, and again, I'm speaking as somebody who helps clients get funding for their businesses. And a lot of small businesses out there will come to me and say, we need bank funding. And I start talking to them, credit score, do you have any collateral? Do you have cash flow in your business? There's inevitably some reason why they cannot get a bank loan. And when recession and winter really comes, the tight regulations or the tight gloves that these companies, these banks have on funding are going to become even tighter. And I think tokenization is really going to take tokenization and crowdfunding. I'm going to put it all together in one lump sum here, or one group here, is really going to reach a tipping point when enough companies start saying, we can't seem to get funded or funding from traditional sources, including angel investors, like big angel investors, accredited investors, and from the banks. That's what we're going to see happening. And there are going to be a lot of companies that are going to need people to walk them through how to put their assets on a platform, how to market their opportunity, because that's one of the top reasons why crowdfunding projects fail, is because people don't know how to market that. So if you just become the guru in how to market your tokenization of asset opportunity, you can make a killing. And then how an investor that has $100, $200, $500 that they want to put into a marketplace, how they can get in. So how to set themselves up on these platforms. And then, if they need a little bit of money or they want to sell it on a secondary market, how they can do that. So I've just listed 4 different major industries that's going to come from this. And you all know how I feel. We have got to figure out how to own one of these platforms, or, get a piece in one of these platforms or something like that. Eric is working on that for us within BBC, but you all know how I feel about the PayPal thing. I'd rather get a nickel from everybody that's doing stuff on these platforms. I don't want us being fee for service, for the next 20 years. I want us to figure out how we can get a nickel per transaction, because that's where the real wealth is going to come in. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, no, I was going to say, because, I posted something in the BBC today. I guess it was kind of a rant. It wasn't a rant. But the point I made was, well, wait a minute. Okay, as an unaccredited investor, you can go on Coinbase and own and buy every single one of those digital assets that they offer: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Augur, XRP, go on and on and on and on down the list. Okay, but what you can't do is own any stock currently in Coinbase, until Coinbase goes
public.
Yeah, until they go public. And I just come look at that and go, okay, how does that work? Why? Like that literally makes very little sense to me. And I'm sure in somebody's mind, they're going to tell me that it makes sense. But I'm sorry, I think I try to think pretty common. Like, that makes no sense. I'm like, wait a minute. No, like I'm buying everything that's making you valuable. Like, what are you talking about? So I don't know. Yeah,
but fortunately, there are opportunities within the law where these things are changing, and unaccredited investors can if it's under the right platform, the crowdfunding platforms that are out there, you can do that. But I will tell you, as somebody who's looked underneath the hood, they're very expensive options, and you have to give them a piece of your company in order to even be on those equity crowdfunding platforms. So now you've got, these platforms taking a piece of your company and taking a piece of the transaction money for everybody who gives you money, et cetera, et cetera. So these things are starting to add up. So we had another, Mario here is saying Harbor.com created a blockchain platform to tokenize assets, but we could have someone in the Black community create a decentralized platform for our people. They have venture capital firms investing in the angel and seed rounds at Coinbase. And those VC companies that are investing in the angel and seed rounds, they're the ones that make all the money. So you've heard Beyonce apparently did a concert at Uber, and she got Uber stock instead of her pay, and now the Uber stock is worth X amount of money. Well, this is how it works. This is how it works. And the people that are able to get in early, which is typically not us getting in early because we don't have the access, and a lot of us aren't accredited investors, and we aren't in a position to get in early because we're not one of the first employees typically, which is why I said one of the big things you want to do is create a top 10 list, make sure certain people in the industry know who you are, and instead of consulting for just dollars, you can consult for a little bit of dollars and a little bit of stock in the company that you're helping to create. That could be a great way for you to do it. So
I also want to add one more thing too, Cherie, about this is one of the beautiful things, because I do truly believe that we are in a generational transformation time. That was part of my spiel to my sons last night. Like, guys, I know it's hard when you're in it, so you kind of see like the routine, mundane sides, and you kind of go, well, that day seemed to be completely like the other last 10 days, okay? Mm-hmm. But I said we are in a time that I do believe is transformational. One of the things that I do see from blockchain is people really need us. They really do. They need us. They need our way of communicating, connecting, building networks within us. They need our value. Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to understand that about themselves too. It's not for what everybody, I don't care what anybody else is doing. What you offer and what you bring to the table is completely invaluable. Of your ability to be able to connect and communicate what these other platforms are looking to and trying to do or attempting to do is just invaluable. I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Mario's saying, I'm an accredited investor and I get lots of pitch decks from lots of companies. We need more credible venture capitalist firms created by trustworthy Blacks. I agree with you. I agree with you. I met last month with a woman who worked, it's now a defunct fund, but it was called the Black Tech Angel Investor Fund. And they raised $5 million from Black accredited investors who wanted to fund other Black tech-owned companies. And I want to see if either I can get this woman to come to our 2020 Atlanta conference. She comes from LA, so kind of need to see if there's a budget in there for her travel, or to have her come to one of these sessions, because I would love for her to talk about some of the issues she saw with how we as Black people present ourselves to angel investors and venture capitalists. It's not always we're Black, therefore we're not getting funding. She said there were some fundamental things in our pitches and in the way that we presented ourselves that needed to be tweaked and fixed so that we could get funding. And she was also responsible for helping companies and entrepreneurs fix those things. So it's one of the things I think that would be fascinating. And I might even try to encroach on Eric's Eric's conference and see. I don't know if she can do November though, but we'll see. But that is somebody that I would love. Her name is Cindy. I would love to have her come as well and just talk to us about that. Yeah, so winter is a good thing. Tawana said it the best. It really does separate the wheat from the chaff. And if you play it right, a lot of people, when winter comes, they run. There's this old investor saying that you buy when everyone is selling and you sell when everyone is buying.
Yes.
And we want to think about it the exact same way. You all also know I'm very much about teaming as well. So using the inner circle within Black Blockchain Consultants to say, hey, I've got this idea. I'm looking for, 4 or 5 people to join me. Let's help pull it together, etc. I'm a big proponent of that. Nobody can do it alone. And if you're scared someone's going to steal your idea, that's not a good fear to have. It's not at all. We get so much farther and do so much more with teamwork. And I'm sorry, everybody. So, we do so much better with teamwork. And the final thing is, you all know, I've been saying if we can, build a group of 10,000 Black people and everybody puts $100 in the till, that's $1 million.
Yes.
And we could fund our own projects.
Yes.
Get our own projects through beta. I can't lead it. I keep saying
an idea.
One day, someone's going to raise their hand and say, Cherie, I will lead it. I will do that. I'm telling you, that is the magic formula. You get 10,000. All we need is 10,000 Black people. It could be a global thing. It could just be in the United States. And $100, per project. We bring up one project per month. We say, hey, this is the project of the month. Everybody says, yes, we like it. No, we don't. Some people say, I'll put money in. Some people won't, et cetera, et cetera. Boom. And Mario is talking about the number of decks that comes in, the number of pitch decks that comes in. Then we get to pick the best of the best projects, and we get our own people. We say, if you want this funded by us, our people have to be hired and have to be a part of your team. Now, of course, they would have to be qualified, but that's how we bring jobs into the community, and that's how we bring opportunity in, and we fund our own projects, and we're not running behind other people trying to get their projects funded. So,
right.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm just affirming everything that you're saying. I mean, first of all, that you've been saying that for a while. I'm 100% behind that. I am one person. So, it's not 10,000, it's 9,999. One. I would so do this right now because it makes so much sense and for so many ways, because one, it's not to the point where you're requiring just a handful of you to come up with it all. This is Metcalfe's law. Now we're expanding this into the network itself. So the network itself is not just their monetary value, but it's their value themselves of what they offer to the project and the product that's being created. It just makes a lot of sense. So whoever wants to lead this, just do it. I just love it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, and the laws are changing in such a way that I'm sure there's a way, between blockchain, setting it up as a, through the smart contracts, you don't give the person the full $1 million at once. You give them little, what they call tranches or installments based on milestones that they're reaching. You could set it up in a smart contract. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this. I know somebody is going to do it, whether they do it through us or not. I honestly believe. But with that, we have 8 minutes left. First of all, if any one of you want to either come on the panel or speak, raise your hand. You have something to say, please raise your hand in Zoom. Let me know so that we can get you in on the conversation. In the meantime, Eric, do you have any final words?
I'm just going to add this. So I'm just going to this to that last point you just said, because I'm just typing this in. So instead of me typing, I'm just going to say it. One of the things why I believe that idea would be fantastic is if you look at how many times crowdfunding happens, and it always starts with the total raise. We're looking to raise $1 million. We're looking to raise $250,000. Now, let me tell you how human psychology works. Many times what people do is they may either put in the minimum or they may put in an amount, but part of them sometimes just goes, well, hey, how do I know this person over here, we're looking to raise, 300,000, this person over here put in 50,000 and or whatever, we don't know. This is different because we're starting with the number and then we're starting with the equal amount that you need to. It's different because now I'm going, wait a minute, you need 10,000 people. Okay, I'll be one. I put in 100. You're putting in 100. The person next to you is putting in 100. So it's much more egalitarian. So I think our own human psychology will process it different as, okay, I'm actually being a real part of something now because I'm coming in at eye level with everyone else. We are true teammates in this now. I'm just saying that. I mean, you brought it up many times. I'm 100% behind it. I think it'd be great. So.
I have brought it up. I'm gonna keep saying it until somebody says that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then I have the perfect name and the perfect website for it. So I already have the domain saved. So anyway, tonight was a great conversation. Just some things to think about. The things I suggested, if you're getting on late, I suggested that, first of all, let me go back and say that the article that we read tonight said that this woman, Michaela Minting, expects blockchain revenues to reach almost $10 billion in the next couple of years. And we're looking at blockchain revenue such as crypto assets, financial services, industrial blockchain applications, and consulting services. So these are the things that she's looking at. I said, number one, these are my suggestions. Number one, pick a niche, pick a major. Number two, discover a need in the marketplace. Number three, become known by all the top players in your industry or your use case. Create a top 10 list. Say, these are the top 10 people I want to meet, and set out to go meet them. The best places are when they're going to be speaking at conferences or organizing certain conferences. Number four is become a top player in the industry. Start a Medium blog, start posting LinkedIn articles, start a podcast, start pulling people together, thought leaders, and say, hey, once a month we're going to get together and talk about the latest trends or pieces of information within blockchain and our industry. Number five, update your LinkedIn profile and make it keyword friendly so that as companies are looking for you, it's easy for them to find you and see all the things that you've written or all the videos that you've done, et cetera, with regards to your topic. And number six, promote yourself, let people know you're available to be a consultant, and consider asking not only for cash, but for stock in the companies that you are consulting with. So those are my suggestions. Yeah.
Great. So
any final comments, Eric, before I reread my announcements from when we started?
No, the only thing I want to say, the conference really looking forward to it. The tokenization opportunity zones, raising capital in the 21st century. These are indeed 21st century economic skills that you're going to learn here, and you're going to be introduced to some incredible platforms, some incredible people there. So all of this is on the cutting edge of the way the world is going to work outside of traditional finance system that most of us have just become accustomed to. So I'm really excited for this. I'll tell you, I'm really excited just to interview some of these platforms and just to talk to them about things that I want to ask them about. It's one thing, I read about them a lot and follow them on, Twitter, LinkedIn, read their, newsletters, but there are questions that I have that I want to ask them about that I believe are beneficial or going to benefit the community at large. So I'm just excited to do this, and I hope it's going to be just great value for everybody.
Great, great. So we are going to have that. We're going to post the date that is going to be played live for everybody, but it most likely will be sometime the week of November 11th. We also have on this coming Monday, September 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're having a special session for our Inner Circle members where we're talking about how you can make money within Black Blockchain Consultants. So we will be sending you an email with that link so you can join in. And yes, there will be a replay for that. And also the final announcement is February 16th and 17th, 2020, we will be in Atlanta for our conference. So we are getting the contract, checking it over, but it is going to be happening. So ask your boss for the time off now. We will be tokenizing an asset live on that Sunday, February 16th. We're going to take a piece of Black art and tokenize it. Fun, fun, fun. And then on Monday, we definitely have Krista McFarlane, who raised $20 million. She is the CEO of Patientory. She has sent me an email agreeing to be our keynote speaker. We don't know what she's going to be talking about, but whatever it is, it's going to be good. The day is going to be good. If you want to be on the planning session for the 2020 conference, talk to Tawana Rivers and let her know, and I'm sure that she would love to have your help with that. So with that, it is 9 p.m. on the dot. We made it through our hour of blockchain chat, made it on time. Next week, same time, same place, 8 o'clock. Thank you so much to everybody, and have a good night, good week.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.